No, I'm gonna close your door, okay?
Hi, this is Take Charge Your Health with Corrine Fernari, clinical nutritionist, physician assistant, and Carol Peterson, pharmacist. Listen, learn, and I hope you enjoy the show. Bye.
Welcome back. This is Take Charge of Your Health with Corrine Fernari, clinical nutritionist and physician assistant, and my co-host, Carol Peterson, pharmacist. Every week, we present you with new and creative ways to help you make sense of health information and bring it home to you and your family. With years of clinical experience between us and research into traditional and cutting-edge technologies, we give you practical information to help you take care of your health. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm here with my co-host. Fortunately, guess what? I can even see her. We're live right now on YouTube. So we're going to be opening up, I'm saying, starting from the beginning, we're going to be opening up to questions that you can call in. Our number 212 209 2877 212 209 2877. But also on YouTube, you can type us a question and we'll be glad to answer it. And today, we chose to go over a show that we played last week. We had Dr. Brownstein on the show, and he was brilliant talking about thyroid and iodine and how to use them and different myths that were so powerful on that are and pervasive on thyroid and the care of thyroid patients. It was really quite exciting. Consequently, we really didn't want to interrupt him. We have so much time and it's limited. We didn't take any questions, but being that thyroid hormone is how many, Carol? Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfectly. How
Oh, good,
many
good. Yes.
millions of thyroid pills are being given out?
Oh, millions and millions, and it happens to be the most with levothyroxine. Synthroid is a popular brand name, and I believe I saw someplace it was the number one prescribed drug in the U.S. That same speaker said, and it doesn't work. So we need to we need to jump into why
So-
there are times when it won't work.
and that's what we're going to be speaking about today. And now there are millions of thyroid T4 synthroid pills being given out every day, and there's only 1 million a day of the natural thyroid hormone, the
Oh, thyroid.
whole thyroid, which has T4, T3, even some T2,
And
because it's the
T1. There's a
and
T1.
T1
There's a T1 too.
and T1, which is like it's similar to, let's say, salt or wheat, where they take everything out and they give you back sodium, and that's the complete salt.
The
But yet,
complete salt, yes. And there's so
but
much more to salt.
there's so much more to salt, which helps to balance. One, it helps to balance our thyroid. So, Carol, there's so much to cover. Um, where should we begin? Help us out.
Okay, so actually, we started out with whole glandular thyroid as the thyroid replacement until drug companies were able to extract T4, thyroxine, and T3, the more active thyroid hormone, liothyronine. And then we got this great big campaign funded by those drug reps, the drug companies sending drug reps all over the country telling doctors that whole thyroid was not the drug of choice. Why? Because it had stuff in it we weren't measuring that could be off, this one and that one. And this
And
is in spite of the fact that the whole thyroid has a description in the USP, the United States Compendium, and the companies producing whole thyroid have to prove that those amounts of thyroid hormone in the whole thyroid are in each and every batch, and it follows this. And for L-thyroxine, the supposed better solution, because it's only that, and your body can convert it to the other hormones, and that's therein lies a
well,
problem because sometimes it can't. And then so
but that's
this
not
this
even
was a this was a big propaganda campaign, and
exactly.
doc doctors were losing their medical licenses for
If they
using whole thyroid, which they had been using for years with great success. And instead of using the L-thyroxine, it was unbelievable, the pressure. So there are times when, yes, you have issues with your thyroid, but L-thyroxine T4 is not the answer. It's a one hormone hit for everything, which it doesn't always accomplish.
and what happens is that we have, as we stated in the beginning, millions and millions and millions of people worldwide on T4. But yet, people don't feel well. They're not feeling like they're being balanced. They're not seeing it in their hair. They're not seeing it in the strength of their nails. They're not seeing it in their energy or mental clarity. I had a younger woman, who came to me, and she was on T4,
Mhm.
Synthroid. Her legs from her knees down were totally numb, completely numb. Her sister-in-law was an endocrinologist.
Ah,
Therein lies the problem.
problem.
And she didn't sleep. She couldn't pass bowel at
Yes,
all.
that's a big one. Big red
Horrible,
flag. Low
horrible.
thyroid, low thyroid, low thyroid.
And she had swelling in her ankles and legs, and she was really in horrible shape. So I switched, but guess what? Her TSH was perfect. And
Aha,
that
because
and that's thyroid stimulating hormone, and that's the one test they use to show that thyroid is working correctly. Well, the end result was, she did very well. Her bowels started to get normal. The first thing that came back was the feeling in her legs, the
Mhm.
numbness. So her circulation came back. She was more mentally clear. She became more active. She began to feel like herself. Fortunately, and the story goes on, I'll go quickly. She got pregnant. She was able to get pregnant. Up to then, she hadn't been able to. Then her doctors went banana cakes that she was on natural thyroid. She was on Armour at the time, and they took her off of Armour, put her back on Synthroid, and lowered her dose. So here she was again, pregnant, numb legs, constipated, feeling like half person, and I really wasn't able to see her again. Her sister-in-law demanded that she goes to someone who could correctly manage her thyroid.
Oh,
Hello.
hello. This has got some other implications I'd like to put in there. She probably never would have gotten pregnant with the
Exactly.
L-thyroxine treatment. But the other thing, during a pregnancy, your body needs twice the
Needs
thyroid
exactly. And
activity.
they lowered it.
Yeah, that was criminal. That was absolutely criminal. I don't know if she survived that pregnancy, the baby survived that pregnancy, but they were kind of cocking the gun to have a miscarriage, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. So, so where what this is what we see time and time again. I do, and Carol does. We see an incorrect guiding in terms of thyroid hormone and how to make it work. You know, the TSH, that's the gold standard for a blood test, the TSH. But yeah, it's really not telling you thyroid function. It's nearly not telling you whether the thyroid is getting into the cell or the thyroid is being converted to an active form, or it's telling you what the brain thinks. Now, what happens with the brain, some your body could be making the right amount of T4 and or thyroid hormone could be making it, but it's not getting into the cells. If it doesn't get into the cells, and here you are walking around hypothyroid with the TSH in the brain measuring the amount of thyroid in your body, which is more than adequate, but yet you are
That's,
not being adequately treated or balanced because the thyroid isn't working for you.
here's another thing, since you brought up the pituitary, is you can have secondary hypothyroidism. Your pituitary does actually not work, and your TSH is extremely low. And a lot of doctors, just out of pure ignorance, will tell a patient your TSH is suppressed ipso facto. You must be
Nice
hyperthyroid.
word,
They
ipso
have
facto.
they have every single symptom of a low thyroid, and doctors used to be able just to take a look at your presentation and listen to what you're complaining about, the fatigue and the constipation and the depression. You would tell your doctor those symptoms, and they could deduce that you were having some thyroid issues based on your presentation, physical presentation. The ends of your eyebrows disappear, your hair, you start balding, your hair starts balding. So all these things are completely ignored for a TSH test.
Well,
So you can have secondary low thyroid. You can have it even more complicated, tertiary. No thyroid releasing hormone goes to the pituitary to stimulate the pituitary for the TSH. So there's also a tertiary form of low thyroid. And I would bet my bottom dollar that most practitioners do not even consider this as opportunities for that low thyroid. And you would think when you go to an endocrinologist, they might dig deeper and look there, but they don't, not routinely.
and then we find that very frustrating because that's why you go to an endocrinologist, because you want a deeper look. Now, the standard test for thyroid is TSH, T4 total, occasionally T3, or and T3 um, free, T4 total, T4 free, and then T3. But that's really not giving us the information that we need to be able to make an informed opinion. First of all, we really need to look at free T3, and we also need to look at reverse T3. So, what does the reverse T3 show us? I wonder if I imagine most of the people who are being treated for thyroid are not getting a reverse T3. What does that share with us? What
I
information do we
I
get
I'm
from that?
I meant to ask you earlier because David Brownstein referred to this as King
The,
Solomon, the Solomon thing.
exactly.
And I have to confess I didn't get the metaphor, but I will say briefly what it means. Reverse T3 is like the mirror image, like your hands are, of each other. So
Mm-hmm.
T3, active T3 fits in the receptor, everything's a go. But then the reverse T3
Locks it.
blocks the receptor. And
Exactly.
it's a human equivalent, like the bears that go into hibernation. Your body will,
Turn.
in case of stress and big demands on your body, will actually downturn your metabolism, and that's the way you do it. Now, Dennis Wilson, who treats reverse T3 and teaches many, many doctors how to do this. He uses active T3 with increasing amounts every week until your body temperature goes up. I consider when I see a reverse T3, I consider that very likely the adrenals are involved, that the
Mm-hmm.
adrenal function has gone down and the support for active thyroid is compromised. So I usually go there, see what the adrenals are going. So, Corinne, what does the Solomon thing mean? Do you know?
Well, Solomon was cutting things in half,
Yeah. Hmm.
and it was had to do with fairness, but I didn't get it either, to tell
Okay,
you the
well,
truth. But I
we'll have
wasn't
to
going to
ask him.
admit it, but I didn't get it. But what happens is reverse T3 is your body's way of utilizing and blocking excess thyroid. And not even excess, but an incorrect thyroid. And so it's a very important mechanism. So we look at that to see how well our cells are utilizing the thyroid hormone that they have. Thyroid hormone is, why do we care? Thyroid hormone is like the spark in the mitochondria, the spark in our energy cells. And when it's working right, T4 enters the cell, which is abundant, and a trace, a micro amount of T3 then converts the T4 to T3, and then T4 becomes active. And what does it do? It balances our temperature. Well, why do we care? Because every single action in our body has to do with enzymes. And enzymes are dependent on temperature modulation. If it's a trace too cold, it doesn't work. If it's a trace too warm, it becomes overactive. So, temperature is essential for every single um, enzyme action in our body. And the, they're also everything in our body. And I remember that when I started to learn about thyroid, I opened up a book and they said symptoms. There were 2, 3 pages of symptoms. And I said, oh my gosh, how could this be? How could there be so many symptoms? Why? Because every single cell in our body is affected by thyroid when it's hyperactive or hypoactive. And so every single cell in our body gives us a story as to how our thyroid is working. Carol?
Very well said. Uh, there's another piece to this. Not only is all that symptomatology causing a problem, and I think I have a blog on thyroid symptoms that I put on my website, but this comes from Dr. Ray Peat, who I admire a lot of his work. he wrote once that the number of things that interfere with your thyroid is like as long as your arm if you made a little list. And he said that
Just
very,
like the list of symptoms.
yeah,
Go
just
on.
like that. So you reminded me of that. So he said only three things support your thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
And he said pregnenolone, progesterone, and coconut oil.
Oh,
And I thought,
really? Coconut
yeah.
oil.
Well, get this. So we think about coconut oil, we think short chain fatty acids are the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did a deeper dive into coconut oil. I thought it was like Sesame Street or something, or the uh, the SAT ACT test, like what doesn't belong, right? It seems like it doesn't belong. But inside coconut oil are a lot of steroidal compounds as well. That same four-ring structure, like we get the hormones from cholesterol. That's the one thing that they all have, this four-ring structure. That is in the coconut oil too. So I think it's acting as an adaptogenic molecule to our whole system. Coconut oil does. I since found one more thing. I would probably take this up with Ray Pete if he was still alive, but there's another thing. Methylation is needed for that conversion from T4 to active T3. I only learned this a couple months ago to my surprise, and we have talked about methylation on our program
Quite a
before.
bit.
But there's been estimated about 40% of the population has some sort of methylation
Like
sluggishness
defect.
or defect. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's going on and you don't do proper support with methylation substances that will give you methyl groups, that's not going to work either. So it's very interesting to me that um, we have this support for thyroid that you need. In fact, when I have new clients, I don't always go to thyroid first. I go to pregnenolone, progesterone. Guess what I'm going to say next? Iodine.
What a surprise.
What is,
Iodine. You know,
and selenium. You should throw selenium in there, at
oh,
least
that
200 micrograms.
exactly. Well, that it's not going to convert from T4 to T3 without selenium. Selenium
Oh,
is that cofactor, or iodine.
mhm.
It's also, T4 is the thyroxine and four molecules of iodine. T3 is thyroxine with three molecules of iodine. So iodine is essential. It's essential for our ability to um, even make thyroid hormone. Without iodine, we're not making thyroid hormone at all. And it's, we're not making thyroid hormone at all.
That's what the 4 and the 3 and the 2 and the 1 refers to.
Exactly.
How
Is the
many
iodine.
molecules of iodine do you have? The
Yep,
the T is tyrosine, the amino acid tyrosine. So it's very
tyrosine.
simple. Just those two things to make up your thyroid hormone.
And well, I'll let you continue, Carol. Go.
Okay, I wish. Can I bring up another thing, Dr. Brown? Why don't we give out the number again? And I want to.
212-209-2877. 212-209-2877. But then there's something else I wanted to say. The amount of iodine available to us individually through our diet has reduced by 50%. And yet it's an essential nutrient, absolutely essential for our body's function. We know that when the iodine is low, we get goiters, but which is an enlarged growth on the side of our neck. It's because it's like a hypertrophy of the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland has to work so hard; it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Whereas with iodine, it has a normal effect, and it doesn't have to work so hard. But iodine is reducing in our population. and it interferes with our level of health. I remember, well, I don't want to go there, but it's essential for our immune system and also essential for our ability to fight diseases and to protect ourselves. The number to call 212-209-2877. I know what's going to happen. It happens every time. You wait till the end
Oh,
and then
man.
we can't answer. 212-209-2877. And we specifically chose this show to answer your questions because one thing we know just by the statistics is that there are thousands and millions of people with thyroid problems, and many of them, a large percentage of them, are not being treated in such a way that they feel better. They're being treated, but they don't feel right. They don't feel their best. I saw an interview with you and Dr. Dash, and he said an older woman, 80-year-old woman who had been on thyroid hormone for 50 years came to him for help,
L-thyroxine. Yes.
and and she'd been on T4, and what happened was that he switched her to natural hormone, and this woman came to him and said, I feel fabulous. How come my doctors didn't treat me like this before? And he said, Mom, I don't know. And
I have
I
a
thought that was
great
so
story.
cute. I thought that was such a good story.
It is. Well, I wanted to jump into David
Oh,
Brown's.
guess what? We have
What?
one caller. I want to start right now.
All right.
Hi,
Okay.
you're live. Your name, please.
James,
Hi,
Oh, hi,
James.
James.
how you doing? In Brownstein's book, Iodine: Why We Need It, Why You Can't Live
Yep.
Without It, he recommends 100 milligrams of B2 and 300 milligrams of niacin twice a day. Isn't that high an amount of niacin? Isn't too much niacin bad for your kidneys?
Yes and no. Um, the uh, the timed release niacins that they were coming out with were were a problem for the kidneys. Just plain niacin, not. It's used. Niacin is used in much higher doses for detoxification. The Scientologists with their saunas will have you take gram doses of niacin to help you detox. Also, Abe Hoffer's treatment for schizophrenia included high
High
gram doses
doses.
of vitamin C and of niacin. It's also used regularly in doses like that to treat high cholesterol. Why does it treat high cholesterol? There's a lot of enzymes, coenzymes that you need throughout the steroidal cascade that niacin becomes a part of. So it helps you move on down to the other hormones.
So as
Yes,
long as it's not time release, it's okay.
yeah,
Right.
well, but you do want to watch your enzymes. You do want to watch your liver enzymes. Okay.
That brings me to
And
my second question.
okay,
He
let me
recommends
just give this
treatment.
out. 212-209-2877, and take charge of your health radio. Take charge of your health radio. You can type us directly. Go on, James. Quickly, because we have three
Uh,
people waiting.
Okay. In his book, he also recommends getting an iodine loading test, but in California and in New York, they make it very difficult. You can't get any of that, um, the things that needed delivered to you that need to be delivered to get the iodine
Well,
loading test.
none of these are done at home. The iodine loading test is done in a doctor's office.
No, at home. At
Well,
home.
the one I,
You should
well, you
collect
do,
the
you
original
collect
one
your urine, but
for 24 hours and you take 50 milligrams
yeah,
of iodoral, 50 milligrams of iodine. No, it is done at home. But then you have to collect your urine and send in the urine.
So you need the container to collect the urine.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need the test kit, and you're right. New York is notorious for not allowing quite a lot of testing to be done. Uh, and in fact, it's often the only state in the whole union that this is a problem for.
I think it's California as well. So
Okay.
how do you get around?
Well, California is tough also. How do you get around it? You go to another state. You
Just,
send your, no, literally, you send your
you
sample
go,
in
yeah, from
to
another.
from Connecticut or from New Jersey. So, okay, we have other people. Thank you, James, for calling us. Okay. Hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hi, my name is Tom.
Hi,
Hi,
Tom.
Tom.
Hi, I was just wondering. I know iodine is good for me, and I have in my table salt. But when I go to like the supermarket for sauces, soups, like a frozen pizza, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, you cut
That's
off.
my
Hello.
fault. I accidentally hung up on him.
On the
Please call
mono.
back if you get a
Oops.
chance. I'll make sure you
Okay.
get back on immediately. But you do have another caller
Thank you.
holding.
Hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hello?
Hello. Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me now? Is that
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Hi. And the question I have is, I was listening to you talk about all the symptoms of having thyroid issues, and it sounds like I have all those issues that I've been dealing with for years. I've never, I've talked to my doctor on doing a physical to have it tested. And they said, oh, it's fine. They look at the blood and all that. But I don't think they're investigating my thyroid properly because of all those symptoms that I have. I'm dealing with it with other things, but my body temperature is low. I have fatigue. All those things that you
Hmm.
mentioned. I'm wondering how I can get a proper test to find out if I should be on a whole thyroid supplement or something like that.
Okay, so you should have TSH, free and total T3 and T4, reverse T3, and we didn't
And
speak about antibodies yet, but
thyroid antibodies.
I'm sorry, can you go
antithyroglobulin
over
and
it slower, or
anti-TPO. Pardon me?
I guess I have to listen to the show again.
Yeah,
You're going
and
too fast. Okay.
and about 60% of people have Hashimoto's. The antibodies are high, and doctors are failing to even measure those. Why? In conventional medicine, they don't know what to do. What do you do with autoimmune diseases? Those originate in the gut, in your gut microbiome. That's where you have to work to get this changed around, and it can be. They think Hashimoto's once is Hashimoto's forever. It's not true. Goes away.
That
Could come
it, well,
back.
it goes up and down, and it can be suppressed. And you have to make sure if it's on the up, you don't let it goes so high that it burns your thyroid out. And that's what I have seen. So, what you do is you keep your body high in magnesium. So, you keep that calmed down, you keep fatty acids. And now, Carol was talking about coconut oil. And what you
Vitamin
want to
D,
do, and
huge.
vitamin D is essential. And what you want to do is to stop that surge so high that it burns out the thyroid. And then, as Dr. Bernstein said, but I've seen it and Carol's seen it, if you can maintain it at a certain degree or an appropriate degree, your thyroid, for a long period of time, you can literally reduce and or dissolve those antibodies. And what are antibodies? They are inflammatory molecules that are attacking your thyroid, but you can deal with them. And Carol was very clear, and it was quite appropriate to say that you work with them through multiple means, but also through your gut, essential through your gut. So thank you very
There,
much.
here's another thing I'd like to bring up because it's obscure. So you have your total cholesterol as something, and then your body makes pregnenolone from cholesterol. And guess what? I've been seeing a lot of low pregnenolones when you're supposed to be up to 200, levels like 7, 10, 15 in some of my clients.
Exactly.
And guess what you have to
To
turn
make
cholesterol into
all
pregnenolone? You need thyroid and active vitamin A, not beta carotene. That's what the thyroid's doing for you, changing beta carotene into
to
active
vitamin.
vitamin.
Hmm.
Or you can eat
So,
active vitamin A. But so that's, I always consider that a really strong marker for hypothyroidism.
so you have circles here, and what Carol's bringing up is that hormones and nutrients are a symphony. It's not a solo, it's a symphony, and they work together to balance each other, and that's the part that's so amazing and actually so miraculous and beautiful to watch, is how they work together to create the appropriateness of the body function. We Guess what? Thomas is back. Hello, you're
Hi,
live.
Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Hi. What do you call it? I try to avoid products with way too much salt in them. But what I was, like packaged products. But what I was wondering is, would you know, do they have iodine in them? Does industry use iodized salt?
No, probably not.
They don't.
Probably
And
not. And
Safe for
and
me, right?
I've even heard from some clients that the regular table salt, that they're finding some of those with no added iodine these days, which I
There
was
are some,
shocked to
yeah.
hear that.
There are some.
I I, I haven't been able to verify that myself, but at
I
least
was
two of my
I just
clients told
tried
me that.
salt, and I
oh
was checking
yeah,
labels, and some don't
you
have it. Plus, all these new, what do you call it, like hip salts that are Himalayan sea salt and stuff like this. None of them have iodine on their label.
no, the
No, they might
Himalayan
have.
sea salt does not.
They will have traces maybe, but not enough. Not enough for your needs. And
See, so
we should.
I was avoiding my table salt, which is iodized, because
Uh,
like if I had a frozen pizza and I said, well, look at all the salt I'm getting from this, I better not, or from potato chips or something, I better not use my table salt, and that's I should skip the salty food and use my table salt, right?
and salt
You
it
have
yourself, but even better, use some iodine. Here's
exactly.
Would you like to hear my favorite recommendation?
Yes.
I like Lugol's solution 2%, which is readily available. It's in the pharmacies, it's in the health food stores, it's online, it's all over the place. Doses of 10 to 20 drops diluted in some water, or you can put in your coffee, tea, whatever. And this gives you, David Brownstein made a very good point. It gives you iodine and iodide. Your body, actually, different body parts prefer a different form of iodine, so you've got it covered there.
Okay. And what foods can we eat that are good for the thyroid?
Seaweed.
It's
Oh,
absolutely wonderful.
I live in Flushing, and the Asian supermarkets have tons of seaweed things, and I've tried it. It's good.
Wonderful. You're
Anyway,
lucky.
thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
Okay,
you.
great day.
Thanks
thank
for
you, Tom.
calling back. And is there anyone else? Hello?
Yeah, there's another one.
Hello, you're
Hello.
live.
Hello, can
Your
you hear
name,
me?
please? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
your name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
call and
Okay,
speak.
great.
Yes, I heard you.
Can I ask you a question about statins?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, great. So, I had a carotid artery test, uh, and it says indication for testing was occlusion and stenosis of bilateral carotid arteries. And the conclusion was for both the right and left, there is tortuosity and turbulence within the mid to distal internal carotid artery. This may occur with fibromuscular dysplasia. So that was from that test. And then my cardiologist had blood work done, and it was all in the normal range, except for the LDL was 106, and she said she was aiming for 70, and she's wanted me to go on statins for a while, which I've been resisting. I had been on them a very long time ago, and I managed to get off it with my diet and so forth. And so the doctor said I was in a higher risk category for a stroke. So what do you think?
Well,
Statins won't save you. Maybe 1 in 400 or something like that. Um,
yes,
if your cholesterol's gone high, I just want to connect it to our show. One of the reasons that cholesterol can be high is because you're low in thyroid.
low in thyroid.
Rhoda
Well,
Barnes put this in his book, Hypothyroidism, the Unsuspected Illness. So
sure.
he believed that total cholesterol was a better marker for hypothyroidism than the things we are using. And I suspect he's right, especially what I just said about if your cholesterol's stacking up, maybe you're not making pregnenolone, that next step. That's a thyroid required step. So the other thing, statins don't really relieve plaque. There was just a study published, which I'd like to share because it was pretty dramatic. And they got diminished plaque using nattokinase. And that
Exactly.
nattokinase was in high doses. I think it was 12,000 units. Now, I work for a company that has a very good nattokinase product, but they were only 2,000. So to get the dose that was shown to really actually help you get rid of some plaque was 6 times. You'd have to have 6 capsules a day, which was right up there. There may be companies out there now, consequently from this study, that will be providing higher doses of nattokinase, but I would put that on your radar for sure.
Okay.
So I'm not a statin fan. It's kind
Now,
of interfering with your body's ability to rebuild and make your hormones. So you don't feel good on statins and your health declines.
And what does your brain use? And what's the highest statin in your brain? That's LDL. So what statins do is they lower the LDL, which is the number one cholesterol in your brain. And so we have to understand, just like everything else, cholesterol is a, a group, it's a conglomerate that work together to keep you healthy. I think the nattokinase is essential. And nattokinase is an extract that's been extracted from a fermented soy. And what it does is it moves through the body and through the bloodstream as an enzyme, changing the charge on the blood cells so they don't stick together. It has no negative effects like aspirin does or can have. Um, but it can be very positive in terms of breaking up clots, increasing circulation, and like Carol said, that they've now seen that it reduces the buildup of plaque on the artery walls. So you you don't want to do all this all alone. You do need some help. You do need some direction, and and but I would consider that. I would also consider some niacin, also very
Hmm.
important for circulation, and vitamin E, another nutrient for circulation. But guess what else? Our tried and true vitamin C can be very powerful in terms of uh, the circulation and the plaque and the buildup on the arteries. Then there's one other. Oh my goodness, we can't even stop. There's tons of herbs, but vitamin K, high
Hmm.
dose vitamin K, can be very beneficial.
It particularly needs to be K2.
K2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm taking that. So, but anyway,
Yeah,
so
but
my
how
gut
much?
feeling not to take the statin is a good
You know
gut
what?
feeling.
This isn't a call to treat you or direct you. It's a call to give you the information that you can make your own choices and um, within your healthcare. To give you the information that you could do more research and make your own choices in your healthcare, or to support you in finding a different healthcare practitioner. Any of the above. But we can't say that it would be inappropriate for us to tell you what to do. All
Okay.
we can say is what we think.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you for calling.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And I think there's no more, but there will be 212-209-2877, or Take Charge of Your Health radio, and you can type us in a question. We're right here on the line. We will be glad to answer. This has been, I knew, Carol, I knew people have questions on thyroid. They're confused, and
Yeah.
they have a right to be. Many medical people are confused. And so here they are going to their doctors for guidance. And what's happening? What's happening is that they're not getting enough guidance to feel better. They're being treated by a test result rather than how they feel. And it's got to be the two. There has to be some relationship to the test result and how you feel and how you can function in your life.
Or
Without that, what why
it's not a
use the
good test. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
I want to just go over to the issue because it's gotten a little more timely. David Brownstein brought this up, and the test study he was talking about were a, in a group of women using whole thyroid, and he thought
Oh
it was
yes.
thyroxine, but it was whole thyroid. I remember the study myself, versus those taking no thyroid at all, and over time the women using thyroid had a higher incidence of breast cancer. And recently, Dr. Brian Ardis, and I haven't seen his video. I did locate it, but I haven't went through it yet. But he is pulling out information and saying the same thing about L-thyroxine. In L-thyroxine treated people, the incidence of cancer was going up. And I don't know if he's saying breast cancer or other cancers. However, the response to both of those is not enough iodine. Your practitioner can diagnose correctly even that your thyroid is not working as well and wants to support it either with L-thyroxine or whole thyroid, but it's missing the fact that you're really low in iodine. And iodine has so many effects on all your glandulars, like David Brownstein says, your breasts, your uterus, your ovaries, your testes, your pancreas. It all are iodine needy organs. So if you've diagnosed a thing that ends up being low thyroid and not use the iodine that you also might be low on. And who in conventional medicine routinely does this? Dr. Dash talks about it. Every single patient gets a test for iodine in his practice. And it can be, as David Brownstein said, as he went along, most of his practice corrects the low thyroid situation with giving them iodine. So this is the primary thing. Always check into what's going on with the iodine. And as I said before, what's going on with the adrenals? The adrenals have to support the thyroid. So just because it's trending now with Dr. Artis, I just wanted to mention that this can be an issue too.
There's another study that I want to bring up, and then we have another caller holding. And this, oh my goodness, is 30 million patients. Can you believe it? 30 million patients. Who can do a study like that? It's it's
AI to the rescue.
AI to the rescue, but it's also insurance companies.
Hmm.
Very, very important. And it was called the TriNetX study, and it measured patients on T4 only and those on a combination T3, T4, which included natural desiccated thyroid. And the findings were a 30% reduction in mortality for patients on a combination T3, T4 therapy compared to those on T4. That's an astounding. Why isn't that front page news? I mean, that's a
Good.
30% reduction in incidence of dementia in that combined therapy group also. And that's a powerful, powerful study. So we have another person calling. Hello, you're live. Your name, please.
My name is Ronald.
Hello, Ronald.
Hi, Ronald. How can we help you?
Well, let me ask your opinion. Why is it that relatively recently, much younger people have been developing cancer, different types of cancer, some of them unusual cancers? Do you have any thoughts about this?
Quite a few. That's the next show. No, it's see. We have just a couple. I knew it was going to happen. We have just a couple of minutes, so I so I'm going to throw out one word
Let me just
without it. Well, we without any really definition or understanding. It's toxicity. That what is
ask you
happening.
this. Um, what what might be beneficial when a person's platelet count is below normal?
Platelet?
Any ideas or thoughts on that?
You mean platelet count?
Yeah.
I one there was Dr. Warren Levine, and he always said that low platelet was one autoimmune, which he felt the majority of it was precipitated by by yeast infections
I'm
through the
sorry. Can you
bowel.
speak up a little louder? I can't hear you that well. Can you
Okay,
just tell me again?
and you know what? I can't because we have to go right now. But if
You
you
can get the archive.
archive that
WBAI
and
has a show archived, and it's also on our website. So we'll be giving that out in a minute.
okay, thank you so much for calling in. And we
Website is the Wellness by Design Project, and I also have a YouTube channel with the same title. And we have, Corrine and I have a Facebook page, Take Charge of Your Health, with Corrine and Carol. And we have the YouTube page, which Corrine has been announcing. Take Charge of Your Health Radio. You can find us there. And Corrine, your social media gigs are
are which CorineHealth.com, and do go on our websites. I have articles that I post weekly or bi-weekly and a newsletter. Carol has articles that she posts weekly or bi-weekly. When you go on our websites, there is so much information. I think that you should be ready to spend some time. There's a lot to learn. It's very user friendly. It takes very complicated medical issues and breaks it down so lay people can understand it and take charge of their health.
Oh, beautifully
So,
said.
hey, so we'll be back. Reggie, thank you so much.
Much.
We really appreciate the help you give us. And Jeremy also. Jeremy, thank you. And we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.